I got $1,000 plus on Shine.
A little bit crazy.
I'm doing a try-on haul, RS. Shine try-on haul party with me while I organize my 1,000 items Shine haul.
Good one. Changing my entire style.
I love that it means
Fashion defines eras, and this generation is defined by overconsumption. Throughout history, we have never produced this much clothing. Today, it is approximated that 80 billion items of clothing are bought annually, which is a 400% increase since the year 2000. This is an unsustainable distribution method, but what steps are being taken to address this issue, and is reselling second-hand clothing the solution? Fast fashion has been defined as inexpensive clothing produced rapidly by mass-market retailers in response to the latest trends. To get these incredibly low costs, the quality of the clothing is usually below par.
So I did actually break them the first time I tried them on. And they were so cheap, you literally can't even complain.
And the labour conditions to match.
一般下班的时间大概是几点？你要1点2点才下班，晚上1点2点才下班。那你几点钟上班呢？8点。
H&M and Primark are just the tip of the iceberg for these fast fashion brands. Arguably the biggest and most scandalous of them all is Shein. The company launched only just in 2015, and as of 2022, Shein.com is the most visited fashion site in the world.
I disagree with it personally, and I think if people really knew where their fashion, how it was really made, I wonder how many people would keep shopping.
As of 2023, the company is valued at $66 billion US, yet some reports find factory employees work 18-hour long days with no weekends, earning just 2 cents per item made. To keep revenues increasing, these brands scan social media for micro-trends, then have the ability to cut design and production to as little as 10 days. Then Shein are able to produce in excess of 10,000 items daily. They are able to sell this clothing through aggressive marketing on social media as they pay and gift online creators to promote their items. Due to the quality and the trend nature of their garment, they are seen as disposable and destined for landfill.
Off the peg stuff that you buy for like £2 and throw it away, and I mean, it's no good. I feel
it doesn't last that long, and by the time the styles that you might want to wear, the fashion curve is over.
Yet in this same period, with the rise of Shein, there has been a fight back. The second-hand clothing market has blossomed, largely driven by Gen Z using social media and the power of online peer-to-peer marketplaces.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have a Vinted account myself, so try to sell things and then buy things.
I'm a big second-hand guy. I do a lot on Vinted.
My friend's daughter is really good at buying second-hand. She gets some great gear, so yeah, she's always saying to me you should buy from Vinted, so I might give that a go.
These platforms, such as Depop and Vinted, are now transcending generations and allowing anybody to sell garments they no longer need. This trend isn't slowing down either, as the online resale market is expected to grow 21% each year over the next 5 years. Once seen as unhygienic and undesirable, this market is now, in contrast, viewed as on-trend, inexpensive and sustainable. Alongside this online growth, in-person outlets like charity shops and car boot sales are all flourishing once again.
You get absolute bargains, get good quality gear, and Brighton's a great place for shopping for second-hand goods as well.
Due to the low prices in these shops, plus the growth of the online marketplaces, it has enabled business-savvy individuals to set up their own boutiques as they resell items online. This has helped push the growth of the online marketplaces, yet is a heavily debated topic, with some individuals having varying opinions on whether reselling is ethical or pushing more people into fast fashion.
I think it's for everyone, but I think it does kind of take from the people who need it most, but also reselling on a higher value and getting that profit from something that was meant to be good and donated to a charity is just very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm very much of the entrepreneurial mindset, so anywhere you can make money, to do it. Friends of mine, they do exactly that. They customise it a bit, so they'll put prints or add stuff to it and sell it for more. Yeah, absolute win.
It's good for people to buy secondhand, but there's also people that need to buy secondhand because that's what they can afford. So, taking clothes away from them too is a bit upsetting as well.
As long as it's not going to get chucked on a dump somewhere and someone else gets some pleasure out of it, I'm happy with that.
To explore this further and reselling as a whole, I spoke with Sam and Owen, who are both full-time pre-loved clothing sellers. Owen has run Fishbowl Vintage since 2019 and sources many pieces when travelling in Italy. Then Sam has been buying and selling since he was 16, but now also works part-time in a charity shop.
I'm Sam, this is Ralph's Vintage. We're in my little studio in Bristol in Stokecroft. I've been here about 3-4 years, and then I've been doing vintage in various capacities for about since I was 16, 17, and I'm 28 now.
I'm Owen. I run a business called Fishbowl Vintage. I sell second-hand clothing, which I handpick myself. I specialise mainly in Italian brands such as Stone Island, Armani, CP Company, but then I venture out into all sorts of other cool things I like.
Bought stuff from a pet shop before. Like, there's stuff everywhere.
What did you get from the pet shop?
It was 2 dead stock Nike t-shirts from like 2001. It's like dog food, clothes.
Hey, what a mix.
To answer the question of like, where do I buy from? Now it's just anywhere and everywhere. It's vintage shops online, some wholesalers sometimes, other people reaching out and asking to sell stuff like that, so it's just like all over, you know.
From the perspective of a charity shop manager, in our single shop, which is a regular charity shop, we rag about 1/4 ton of clothing every 2 weeks. We get through a lot of clothing. There is not a clothing shortage. The idea that resellers or anyone buying from a charity shop is depriving anyone else of clothing is absolute bollocks. It's fundamentally flawed. We could clothe the world for 6 generations if we stop making clothes today.
Because I think there's a constant supply of things. People are always dying. People are always giving stuff away. So it's going to keep coming and keep coming. And at the end of the day, we're in a time where it's the best time to make money online. So how can anybody slate anyone for making money from that, especially when so many people love clothing?
This is really hard work. Like, to do this well is a graft. If anybody is like thinking we're all living in yachts and like dining on caviar and Wagyu beef, like, we're not. It's physical, it's exhausting, it's disheartening half the time. So I think they should earn and keep that money. It's fair enough.
And like when a guy said in that, it doesn't matter as long as it's stopping an item from going to landfill, which every time it is, you know.
Bodie as well in New York, that is a really sick house that uses like vintage fabric and often uses vintage pieces and recycles them and reworks them in a really interesting way. If you can see that it's been patched there and then hand sewn together in a different point here, it's like, that's what sustainability is for me, is fixing that thing on and on and on, and that adding value and adding to the appeal of the garment. Quality is getting better with age, I think, and a lot of stuff you find in the shops gets worse with age.
The flourishing of Owen's and Sam's stores, as well as thousands of others, demonstrates how Depop is uniting second-hand shoppers and sellers. They believe their hard work and the abundance of clothing available means their profession is in fact helping the problem and ethical. As well as second-hand clothing, many forward-thinking individuals and some brands have cut down textile waste by reworking and repairing old garments. So Fabulous is a not-for-profit community interest company based in Brighton, which is working towards a circular clothing economy by providing classes in how to sew and mend your own wardrobe.
My name's Susie, I'm the Executive Director of So Fabulous. I founded this organisation 10 years ago, and our vision really is to provide classes and skills to everybody in the community who want to learn how to sew and how to mend their clothes. At the beginning, our mission was really just about sharing skills, but very quickly we started to talk more about sustainability within the fashion industry. And when this 10 years ago, it was really quite a different landscape. Yeah. We felt like we were the only people talking about it, and things amazingly have really changed. So some of the most unsustainable clothing is like party clothes, sequins and sparkly stuff. They wear it one time, they have it on their Instagram, and then they feel like it's done and they need a new outfit. So we run something called the Party Clothes Swap, which we've been doing for probably 5 years maybe. We did one last year for Sustainable Fashion Week. We had something like 700 garments brought in and then like nearly 600 go out. So it was a huge volume of clothing that came in and out. So it's like linking up that most unsustainable materials plus the fashion for wearing something once for the Instagram and then getting rid of it. So we're kind of trying to sort of fix all of these things in one go. I do believe that a circular system is possible, but it would take a massive redesigning of everything. The starting place is to change the culture around it and just make clothes that are well made. Then people have to have sewing skills to know how to fix it and how to alter it. And then when it comes to the end of its life, if it's made out of natural fibre, like my jumper is made out of wool, I could put this in my compost bin in my garden. It would disintegrate within like a year, but not the same for the clothing that's made out of plastics. You have to have a technical system.
So Fabulous is just one example for an expanding industry using their initiative to pave the way for a greener future. With these new initiatives, plus the continued growth of the second-hand market, it looks like it is slowly making a difference, as there are signs the fast fashion industry growth is stagnating. In the US, the market share is expected to remain at 9% over the next 10 years, whilst the second-hand market is expected to double, reaching 18% of the clothing industry by 2032. This is hugely down to online platforms enabling anyone to buy and sell.
Depop removing fees, eBay removing fees. What a great move! Like that's only going to encourage more people to sell second-hand stuff online, and hopefully just encourage more people to buy. I think every single thing about it is pointing to it just continuing to grow exponentially.
However, even with this exponential growth of the used clothing market, more is still needed to be done.
Planned obsolescence moves against that, so the idea that stuff breaks, there's going to be like a repair. I think France is already starting to do stuff with repair and incentivizing people to buy stuff that can be fixed. And a lot of fast fashion, particularly footwear and accessories and bags, can't be fixed. Yeah. So there's going to be, I think, a governmental legislative move that favours better quality clothing and or second-hand clothing.
And I think that people who produce things should be also partially responsible for the end of life. If we tightened up like that on a sort of legislation level in this country, I think that would sort a lot of the problems out.
So whether you believe legislation like France's repair fund is needed or resale is the answer, it is now more important than ever for consumers to shop and think sustainably to pursue this battle against fast fashion.
In the future, hopefully we can go back to the days when we don't need fashion at all and we can just walk the streets with a little toga on. But we've not got the weather for that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
We haven't got the weather.